Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello from Gothenburg, Sweden. I hope you're doing as good as we are. Oh, you're from Sweden. Are you affected by the tariffs? So when we arrived to Las Vegas to attend CES, we landed at the airport and we took an Uber to our hotel. And we got this super friendly, cool taxi driver talking about CES and all sort of things. But all of a sudden he asked us, "Oh, you're from Sweden. Are you affected by the tariffs?" And everyone during that week asked us the same question. Are you affected by the tariffs? But what we learned is that actually who's really affected by the tariffs is the US citizens. So research has shown that consumer tech sales in US alone is expected to decline by 68%. My name is Kai, and this is
Karin. And we've been working together for the last 7 years. But this is sort of the first webinar we're doing together. And this is me at CES, drinking a lot of coffee. It was a very intense week, and we got back a month ago.
So today, we are not going to talk about tariffs, but instead we're going to take a look at how the global tech trends will affect us all this year. So CES is the biggest and most important tech event in the world. More than 140,000 visitors, 4,500 exhibitors, and hundreds of conferences and keynotes. But Karin, why does it really matter for everyone?
Well, it's getting harder and harder to stay ahead, and CES is great because it's a rare opportunity to get the condensed, unfiltered version of what the future looks like in the tech and communication space. Now, this was my first time at CES, but I've been to South by Southwest before, and my feeling is that the ones that were at South by before now is attending CES. All the big brands, tech companies, and players like Meta, OpenAI, and NVIDIA were having keynotes and panel talks together. The reason for this is that the communication and tech are moving into becoming very driven by each other. Probably a bit caused by COVID. When you weren't online, you didn't exist. So, thank you all for being curious and attending today, and let's get started.
Yes. Today, we're going to take you through 3 chapters. We're going to start with talking about the 5 most important trends. We're going to continue with some learnings on what this really means for you. And then we're going to wrap it up with some cool observations from the exhibition floor. And yes, you will get the recorded presentation afterwards. So you don't need to take photos of your screen and things like that. Let's start off with the 5 most important trends right now. And these are the official trends coming from CTA, which is the organization behind CES. Let's look. The first one, big shift in demographics and purchasing patterns. Trend number 2, digital coexistence between human and AI. Human security, aspects of environmental and social well-being. Trend number 4, community in both physical but also digital spaces. And longevity, extending and improving the quality of life. So these are the 5 biggest official trends, and let's walk them through one by one. We start with the first one. Let's talk about big shift in demographics, and let's talk about Generation C, which is now the biggest generation in the world and represent more than 1/3 of the world's population. And it's it's a bit more than 1/4 of the OECD workforce. 60% of the Gen Z in the US, they are early technology adopters. And they're 2.5 times more likely to purchase products with sustainability values. But actually, what I didn't know is that 90% of them resides in South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Gen Z has 3 important characteristics. They have significantly different values affecting purchase decisions, and they are the first true digital native generation, and sustainability is crucial in the world. And we all know Gen Z people, and there are so many more values and aspects, but not let's not go through these ones today, and instead look at some examples from what we observed and seen at CES. Gen Z loves smart glasses, AR glasses, but they got to look good on you. So sorry, boomers, no glass holes for Gen Z. This year, there were launched several interesting AR glasses, and they really put emphasis that they have to look good. Gen Z loves smart technology, for instance, robots, but they have to have a clear purpose. For instance, robotic vacuum cleaners. And Gen Z loves assistants and voice assistants. This year, Delta Airlines had a major keynote, launched a digital concierge service who will help you with all sorts of things connected to your flight experience, including changing schedule, rebookings, and transport to and from the airports. Gen Z loves shopping, both in regards of the behavior, but also the channels. I mean, why not do the shopping directly on your fridge? So, in short, Gen Z will change the way we communicate, consume, and connect with the world. Let's move on to trend number 2, digital coexistence. We used to talk about AI, but instead we need to shift our focus to coexistence between human and AI, between man and machine. NVIDIA made a big impact this year on CES, and one example is their view on the AI evolution. The first step was the perception AI, which were analyzing data from sensors and simulating human perception, but moving on to generative AI, where we are today with large language models. This year, we are really stepping into the agentic AI. We're creating workforces based on AI. And the next step after is going to be about physical AI, real world AI. This is very relevant for autonomous solutions. I mean, for instance, robots, but also self-driving vehicles. So NVIDIA launched their concept World Foundation model, which interprets the world and take action based on this, without going through the extra unnecessary step of a language. We're going to see this play out in 3 areas. In AI agents, which is, as I mentioned, autonomous business systems, but also in digital twins, virtual replicas of the world, and the third area is humanoid robots. The first area, agents. Many organizations today develop their own AI agents to both support but also to replace human workforce. And this is an example of a GPT that we created to mimic a CMO role in order for us to experiment and try out ideas and concepts with. Okay, this is not fully an agent in this state, rather than an assistant, but we're getting there. The second area, digital twins. And last year, I had the honor to watch Siemens' big keynote at CES, launching their concept within industrial metaverse. This year, it was ready to try hands-on. And it was really cool to experience being inside the CAD model and design and see all the detail and walk around. Really, really impressive. And the third area is humanoid robots. And as of today, there are 14 mainstream humanoid robots brands in more or less late stage of development. And some of them can be purchased already today. Okay, to be honest, it's still early on, but it's not science fiction anymore. Who would have thought this just 10 years ago? Not me. We got to say hello to one of the concepts. Note that this little friend is fairly small, and this is a big trend now within humanoid robots to make them small in order for them to be less intimidating. To sum it up, in short, we learn to work with generative AI and LLMs, but AI is already evolving into completely new arenas. Let's move on to trend number 3, which is about human security, aspects of environmental and social well-being. This is not so much about the political unrest we experience today. It's rather energy transition to green energy, but also to cope with the extreme electricity demand to power the AI data centers. It's about sustainability, recycled materials and product design, but also food supply chains. There's a growing demand to provide food and water to more people than ever. The first area, energy transition. And this is quite interesting because now heavy machines are becoming electric. This is a very conservative target group, but they are actually starting to accept and adapt to the electrical powertrains. In this example is an American garbage truck, but also fire trucks becoming electric. Of course, wheel loaders and excavators of different forms and sizes. The second area is about sustainability, material and product design. And Panasonic, they announced the biggest change of their company strategy ever toward sustainability. It's a fundamental shift of their business model with the highest level of circular solutions in the industry. And since Panasonic are huge on batteries, especially EV batteries, they claim to make an impact to decrease the world global emissions by 1% by direct and indirect factors. All the big tech companies talking about materials and recycling, and we could see this everywhere. Samsung has been really big on this for quite some time now, but in this case also the Chinese brand Hisense also taking important steps. And the third area, food and water. Numerous water cleaning innovations, but also food supply solutions more than ever before. And we have, for instance, growing devices in different shapes and forms, home growing, but also professional portable growing systems. But you have to have someone who takes care of the harvest and manage the food supplies with the help of robots. So in short, sustainability is now a norm, shaping energy, design, and vital resources for human security. Let's move on to trend number 4, community. And this is how to encompass physical and digital spaces. We have 3 big areas. Mobility. This is how we move ourselves around. We are going to talk about the smart home, but also content meets culture. Mobility. Cars is definitely the dominant factor here, and there are 4 big trends within mobility. Electrification, connectivity, autonomy, but also industrial applications. The first area, electrification. We mentioned this a bit before when we talk about the energy transition, but it's now more or less established with electrification as a way to go in cars. Okay, for now. This is Aptera, sun-powered car. It's not completely fully sun-powered, but it has quite some range. The second trend, connectivity. This is Afeela, a collaboration between Sony and Honda. And 2 years ago, they launched their car Afeela 1. And this is packed with home entertainment. I mean, what wouldn't you expect for a car combined with a PlayStation? Trend number 3 is autonomy. We've seen Waymo and heard about it for quite some time now. This is Google's autonomous taxi service, and they have today more than 1,000 cars running in 4 cities in the US: Phoenix, San Francisco, Austin, and Los Angeles. Today, they run more than 150,000 travels every week. But they are not alone. More and more actors are coming now, and we will probably very soon see a breakthrough. This is Zoox from Amazon, and they're also running in a few cities in the US right now. We mentioned before about the industrial applications. There's a huge evolution here as well, connected to autonomy, electrification, and this is Volvo Trucks, and they showcased their autonomous truck system in their keynote. Next area is about the smart home and comfort. We've seen transparent TVs coming for a couple of years now, and the quality is astonishing. It's transparent just as an aquarium. This TV is from LG, and it's finally on sale. It's not a concept anymore, but it goes for a whopping 75,000 euro for one TV. Connected home solutions from Amazon. They are investing big in this, but also from Samsung with their smart home concept. And actually, what's interesting with Samsung is their competitive advantage, because they have all the home appliances which can easily be connected to their platforms. Content meets culture. This is about content streaming and gaming, and we will not cover this one today. So in short, we're blending mobility our homes, and content culture into seamless physical and digital spaces. Let's move into trend number 5, which is about longevity. And it focuses on extending and improving the quality of life in 3 areas. Improve aging, but also healthier living and better living. Last year, we saw this prototype of a walking aid. This is WIM from WeEye Robotics. And they continue to develop this product and is getting more and more mature. But exoskeletons came big this year in various shapes and variations. This ULS robotic exoskeleton, which actually can help this man walk where he's unable to walk. Earbuds from Oslo, and they prevent snoring. So if you are having a snoring problem, check them out. But also correction glasses for severe eye injuries. I have actually one eye injury on one of my eyes, and I tried this one, and it did the trick, actually, to be honest. It has some built-in zoom functionality with a remote controller, but the performance wasn't good at all. I got nausea feelings. So they're going to continue work on this one. But why not a connected blind cane, powered by AI and integrated with Google Maps to show you the way to your destination? And of course, AI-powered robotic prosthetics. This is BioLeg from Bionic M Incorporated. In short, longevity redefines aging and living better through solutions for a longer and enriched life. So, to summarize the 5 biggest official trends: big shift in demographics and purchasing patterns, digital coexistence between human and AI, human security, community, and longevity. But we also have some conclusions. Karin, can you give us some learnings, some hands-on learnings?
Sure. So a lot is changing right now, and we're all feeling it in some way. I'm going to go through the 4 biggest shifts in customer expectations that we see being caused by these large high-level trends that Kai just presented. Like, what does it all mean? How can I be prepared? And our general advice on that question is to always stay customer focused. How are B2B clients and end consumers reacting and shifting their expectations in all of this change? And what checklist do you need in order to be prepared and start making the shifts in order to meet those expectations? Well, as Kai mentioned, the biggest shift by far is AI. It's not a hype anymore. It's the biggest transformation we're experiencing in the tech and communication space, and might ever will. And if 23 was about wow, 24 was about how, 25 is about now. The use cases are here. It's happening in reality, not just in theory. And this is a quote that stuck with me from Adidas, commenting on how the customer expectations has changed due to AI and how Adidas is changing how they show up as a brand. They used to get questions about the actual shoe color, size, but now it doesn't end there. Customers are saying, "You just sold me a shoe. Now I expect you to give me recommendations on how to improve my running." And it's also changing B2B client expectations, since they now want tailored recommendations for their unique needs. And both B2B and end consumers need to trust that you're handling their data in a good way. So here's our AI prescription. Audit your data. Do you know what data you have and how it's being used? Make sure it's GDPR compliant. And start small in order to move fast. You know, some organizations are stuck while others are moving forward. And if you're stuck, start by identifying your key business problems. Then figure out how AI can solve them. Don't treat AI as a hammer looking for a nail. Focus on areas with clear, measurable benefits like product recommendation, customer support, scaling content, personalized experiences. And prioritize transparency. Be clear about how and why you're using data. That builds trust. The second shift to be prepared for is the sea of sameness dilemma. And at CES, it became very clear that many brands are blending together, chasing the same trends, launching the similar products. And the CMO of L'Oreal commented on this. What keeps me up at night is how we stand out in a sea of sameness that has been created in this high-paced world. I've come to realize that it's not about what we as a brand want to say. It's about what resonates with our audience. The best campaigns are the ones where we take risks, step out of our comfort zone, and experiment boldly. B2B clients value partners who understand their business and cut through the noise with clear, actionable solutions. And end consumers are looking for brands they can trust to deliver quality, purpose, and relevance. So the prescription we have for this is define your why. Why does your brand exist beyond selling products or services? Finding your brand voice and understanding how your brand show up is also vital when scaling with AI. Simplify your messaging. Is your message clear and distinct, or is it buried with buzzwords? Something that we saw a lot of during our week in Vegas. Invest in emotional storytelling. How are you building a deeper connection with your audience? The third shift, sustainability is no longer optional. It's not just a trend, it's an expectation. And this is especially true for us in Europe, where eco-consciousness runs deep. And this was an eye-opening quote from Volvo Group at their big keynote. Collaboration is the new leadership. The technology is here. What we need now is collective action across industries and policymakers to build a sustainable transport system of tomorrow. The fact that they're actually collaborating with partners in order to reach their sustainability goals is great and inspiring. You have to think outside the box in order to make a real difference. And how are the demands changed as a response to this? Well, B2B clients are under pressure to meet their own environmental targets and need partners who make it easier for them to do so. And end consumers expect brands to walk the talk. They won't support brands that make empty claims. Our prescription. Audit your impact. Are your sustainability efforts measurable and transparent? Avoid greenwashing. Are your claims backed by data, certifications, and clear actions? And embed sustainability in design. Are your products and services built for longevity and circularity? And the last big shift sort of sums up everything, and it's that trust matters more than ever. We all see how fast things are changing and how fragile things can feel. And it feels like every day nowadays when I wake up, read the news and ask myself, what is going on? And the fires near LA, just hours from Vegas, were also a clear sign that innovation needs to help solve the problems our world is facing. And Delta just turned 100 years old and has successfully transformed from being sort of, of course, an airline, but into more of a tech company, partnering with brands like Uber and YouTube. And at their keynote, they talked about that they see experiences as a new business currency, and trust is the base. And their general approach is built on trust, which is a great example of how to do it right. And how are people responding to all of this change in the world? Well, B2B clients are looking for partners who can adapt quickly and help them navigate change without losing focus on long-term goals. And end consumers want brands they can rely on, especially when it comes to the claims, their data, and level of innovation and keeping up. Checklist. Focus on trust-building actions. Are you consistent in delivering what you promise? Stay agile. Is your team ready to adapt to change, whether it's a crisis or a shift in the market? Lead with empathy. Are you listening to what your customers and clients truly need right now? So, short recap before we have a look at what we saw at the floor at CES. AI is quickly reshaping expectations, but trust is key. The sea of sameness dilemma is important to be aware of, and standing out isn't about being flashy. It's about being meaningful and different. Sustainability isn't optional. It's a key demand and business critical. We're moving on to the next chapter.
So let's move on and look at some cool observations from the exhibition floor. Let's start to talk about AI-powered security solutions. Super niche, but very interesting. And this is advanced IT-powered CCTVs. It's from SK Group, which is one of the biggest conglomerates in South Korea. And they have real-time detection, but they also have advanced anti-fraud and anti-scam systems. Really hot topics today. We're going to talk about big machines. This is Komatsu Lunar Excavator. Yes, you heard it right. It's a moon excavator. This was initially created as a digital twin in the industrial metaverse and is now under physical development. I mean, we are in the new space age. They faced some quite interesting challenges because there's no oxygen on the moon. It's not possible to run a combustion engine, but also electrical motors was a challenge due to the extreme temperature variations. So they had to implement advanced cooling systems. This one is one of my favorites. Maybe you own an old Caterpillar at home. If you do, you don't want to replace it to a new electrical powered machine. So Caterpillar developed a retrofit concept. So you can basically take your machine to workshop and take out the old engine and put in a new hybrid engine. The battery will run the machine and the combustion engine is only for charging. Better living. So Karin, she loves coffee, right? And she needed her morning cappuccino. So why not having a morning cappuccino from a cappuccino robot? I mean, look how nice, isn't that? The digital photo frames are back. All big manufacturers have their products. And this one is from Amazon. And the quality is extremely good. But Samsung has been on this for quite some years now with their frame concept. And they're moving their positions. So now you can get curated art from famous artists for a small fee. But also this one. This is Space Touch Capsule. This is the world's first full-body LED device for home use. But why do you want an LED device? It's a big trend right now. It's a super big trend within cosmetics. And it's great for making your skin look younger and tighter. Pets. Automated feeding solutions for your pets. This one from Fifi. This is another variant on this one. And this one. I'm not sure. It's a guitar without strings. You can't hear the sound, and maybe you should be happy that you can't. Let's talk about robots and humanoids. We mentioned it a bit before, and we saw so many different humanoid robots in various shapes and forms. And in the beginning of the development, many manufacturers start creating robot dogs. It's simpler, and you can solve the basic problems before you are moving on to the humanoids. And last year, we saw the Unitree, a Chinese brand who came out with their robot dog. And this year, they came out with a full humanoid. Unitree, they are famous for one thing, and they are cheap. Completely new price point, way lower than similar products. So you can get these products for your home for quite some good money. We also saw robotic parts in different ways, lots of robot parts. And this one, Mirokai. This one has implemented generative AI, so you can have conversations with it. Quite interesting conversations, actually. And they also have an interesting solution as a rolling ball instead of legs. But what is this? A few months back, we saw this one being launched. This is from a Chinese car brand called Xipeng. And they launched a flying vehicle together with a companion car. quite interesting. And maybe this is just a conference gimmick, something that will never come true. But actually, Xipeng, they've been developing this kind of concepts of flying vehicles all back since 2019, and in different shapes and forms. And this is their 5th generation. So this is, instead of having everything combined, a car together with a flying thing. The car, you can see the design inspiration from the Cybertruck, but the car has the flying thing separated. We saw lots of different variants from other brands and other manufacturers. Bigger ones and also smaller ones, like this one. Looks like a scooter. So welcome to the world of AAM, Advanced Air Mobility, which is a completely new area, and we will see this a lot more in the future. And it actually came so far, so there are coming out studies on these concepts. This is a study from McKinsey, and they are investigating the future. When in the future are you going to take your car, and when will you choose to take the AAM? By this, thank you very much, everyone. Please submit your questions in the chat. We will stay here to answer. Q, do you want to join us on stage?
Good morning, everyone. I think, Kainka, you had a very clear talk, because so far we haven't received any questions in the chat.
Wow, that was very clear.
Yeah.
Now's your chance, everyone.
Exactly. The future is clear, isn't it, Karin?
Yeah.
Right.
No, really, I don't see any. Oh, Maureen is typing, I see. Let's wait
Yeah.
for her.
We're waiting for Marine's question here. No pressure.
What was the thing on the CES that you saw and really thought, wow, this is really unique, that you haven't seen before?
Batteries made of organic materials and wood. That was very unique. It's still under development, but it was like, wow. I kind of heard about organic batteries, but not like made of wood and wooden parts. That's cool. And what did you see, Karin? That was.
I think we saw a lot of products that was actually for sale now. Like that was something that wowed me a lot. That it used to be a lot of concepts, and this will go live in 5 years. You can buy this, but it was very much a wow moment for me when I realized I can buy this now. That's how fast everything has changed.
Yeah.
So
also
that was
still depending on the price tag, of course, because I saw the TV and I was like, wow.
The TV is expensive, but there were a lot of things like as well with the cars. Used to be a lot of concept cars that was going to be launched in 5-10 years, but now you could actually buy them, and that was. So that's how fast things have been changing. Really, it's will be interesting to know what they will show next year when they show like everything they got now.
But exactly. And 2 years ago at CES, we saw a lot of customer experience solutions. And I mean, we in our industry has been talking about customer experience and user experience for 10-15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 years ago, actually, the CEOs of the global companies, the CEOs and absolutely business leaders, were talking about customer experience as a most important factor to differentiate yourself. And because, I mean, we've been having quite some years with different crises now. We had the pandemic and the interest rates and the supply chain crisis and the war and everything. So companies are trying to be smarter. How can we differentiate without having a huge development budget? and customer experience is the key here. And that was actually breaking through 2 years ago, and we could see this develop a lot.
What is the best way to stay up to date with all the developments?
Join us and follow our talks. I think CES is quite interesting because CES actually make a standpoint for the year, and what happens will actually be the truth for the year. So another really good trend factor is I forgot the name. We can email it out, but I follow a few trend reports that are actually the earlier ones.
Yeah, and I think you should. There's so much noise out there. It's very easy to get FOMO, and you sort of like, who should I listen to? So maybe find a couple of sources that you follow regularly, so that you don't get too confused and it's too much. And I agree, CES is good because they translate the trends really well, and then you can dig into them. But I have also a couple of sources that I follow.
Secret sources.
No, I think you should choose your own and what matches with your standpoints. But and don't get into a freeze state. I think that's important, and get the FOMO, but actually start moving.
Okay.
Yep.
Clear. We've got another question from Pelagia. She's asking, what are some common challenges or overlooked areas when business aims to create a seamless customer experience?
What would you say? The biggest challenges, I think, they're internal alignment, because creating a seamless customer experience needs not just a nice little touch point here and there. You need to create it in a broader perspective, because the customer reaches so many parts of your company. And how do you get internal alignment, and how to get everything to actually break through? And it has been a trend for some years now to having kind of a CXO officer at the company, customer experience officer. But what can they do? Because what's their KPIs? Because they need to influence the sales departments, the marketing department, product departments, brand departments, everything. And they can't, because they're just one of the heads. So the true CXO officer is the CEO of the company. They need to understand.
True.
That's a hard truth, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think consistency is overlooked in a lot of what I see, that a lot of companies do great things, but they need to do great things consistently throughout all of the ecosystem. And that's hard, because it is usually quite big organization. So you need to keep track of that and do things consistently good. Because that is what I feel builds trust the most. Being consistently good, not being good here and there, but actually over time being consistent.
Okay. Well, that was the last question we have. Oh no, Maureen, is networking a good way to align all technical developments?
Yes, but you need to find the correct arenas where things happens. So we've been to lots of different networks and conferences and everything, but on certain places you have the where it really happens, I would say. So, but yes, it's a good way, and it's always good to discuss these topics with smart people. So.
Okay. Well, if there are no further, Maureen is typing. Certain places. She's also asking. For the networking, are there certain places would you suggest where to go or where to look?
Well, of course, there's a lot of online networking going on, but where's the best networking?
I mean, we just praised CES as a great place to be, but it's quite far away. But I would say it's not that much more expensive than going to a conference in Europe or in our home countries, because it's actually you're away for certain days, and then you need to take time to digest everything. So the cost of actually going there is a small part of it. So I would say the big ones, the big conferences. CES is one example. It's a very general one, but you have the major conferences within marketing or within technology in different areas. For instance,
I also think being consistent there is always also good. Like we've been going to CES for years now, even though this was my first time, and seeing that development. So choosing a couple of networks, both online and physical, and keep going there so you see how they develop and not jumping around too much. It's a general advice.
Oh yeah, that's very good. Yeah, makes sense as well. Okay. Well, Kai, Karen, I want to thank you for your time. I've seen very positive reactions that people really thought it was an interesting talk and you really inspired them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't hesitate to get in touch with us if you have further questions.
And have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.